How do you do work? Do you do it to achieve some end, or do you do work for its own sake? If you do it for its own sake, then you're demonstrating that you want to be where you are. And where are you? You're always here and now. We've been exploring the climbing metaphor. It has three parts. The first, goals give you inspiration, vision, and direction. Number two, motivation moves you in the direction of your goal. And number three, work processes the stress and creates the kind of life experiences that you're going to have. Our goal is to live as impeccable warriors. And that essentially means you're using your attention impeccably. So if you're focusing your attention more completely on the task, then it heightens your ability to achieve that goal. Now we're going to be exploring warrior tools that you can do to focus on doing this work effectively. How you do this work determines the kind of life you're going to have. You can create a life of needless struggle, or you can create a life that has more peace and joy. The climbing metaphor has three parts. One, goals give you inspiration, vision, and direction. Two, motivation moves you through stress toward your goals. Three, work processes the stress that stands between you and your goals. We examined the first part, goals, in Warrior Lesson number 21. The warrior's goal is to be an impeccable warrior. This essentially means using your attention impeccably. We examined the second part, motivation, in Warrior Lesson number 22. Here you commit to either extrinsic motivation, where you focus on your goals, or you commit to intrinsic motivation to do the work to process the stress of work. In this lesson, we're going to examine work. In other words, how to use your attention more impeccably, and how intrinsic motivation fits into doing this work. Focusing your attention impeccably is an unattainable goal, but it gives you a direction. And when you have that direction, then you can notice when you get distracted and redirect your focus to it. And this is an important point. If you know that the goal is unattainable, then it releases you from focusing on it. And that allows you to focus on the tasks and the work that you're doing that leads you in that direction. In short, it helps you focus your attention more impeccably. Doing work is going to be an ongoing process for the rest of your life. Yes, you're going to have times when you stop and rest. This is natural and needed. But when you're doing work and focusing your attention, you can always improve how you focus it impeccably. Recall the breathing metaphor we examined in Warrior Lesson number 19. It gave you insight into understanding reality. It also gave you insight into your own motivation for doing work. The first aspect, both and, is about acceptance. You accept both the inhale and the exhale. You accept both stress and comfort as going to be part of your experience. The second aspect, either or, is about commitment. You commit to either the inhale or the exhale. You commit to either focusing on comfort or focusing on stress. Now, these two aspects give you the foundation for doing work. The third aspect, neither nor, is how you do that work. So you accepted the stress, you committed to the stress. Now you're neither clinging to comfort nor rejecting the stress as you're doing the work. You're motivated to do the work for its own sake. This is intrinsic motivation. You relax into the stress and focus on doing the work. You're in enemy territory when you're doing work. You're not in your comfort zone resting. You're in the stress, and stress is everywhere. So you need to be awake and alert as a warrior in enemy territory. Well, what are you awake and alert to? Your attention. Your attention is naturally going to be distracted when you're in stress. So you need to be awake to this. And then you need to be alert to direct your attention toward doing the work. Next, you need to focus as if this is your last battle on earth. This task may be your last. How are you going to focus on it? Are you going to focus on it as if it's not important, or as if it's the most important thing that you're doing? And it really is the most important thing you're doing because it's the task that you're doing right now. The next task isn't guaranteed. Seeing this task as the last battle on earth helps you focus your attention on it. Then you can relax into it and do the work for its own sake. Doing work for its own sake requires trusting how life unfolds. Work allows you to learn. You learn more about yourself, and you learn how to align and integrate into the world. Learning is really about relationships. You learn about a relationship with yourself. This allows you to learn more about yourself. You learn about your relationship with others and with the world around you. Trusting how life unfolds means that you're trusting developing these relationships. You develop these relationships by blending with them. You can't force this process. What you can do is apply the warrior tools that we're going to go over to integrate yourself in these relationships. These tools help you use your attention impeccably, do the work, and develop these relationships. They're tools for doing work to improve your awareness and your alertness. Your awareness tools help you become more aware of attention distractions. Your alertness tools help you direct your attention actively toward doing the work. The tools for awareness that keep you awake are humility, honesty, and humor. The tools for remaining alert are curiosity, patience, and persistence. I'll call these the 3 H's. They keep you aware and awake. Humility helps keep your ego out of the fight. Getting defensive or offended simply distracts your attention. The ego shifts focus to defending what was, which distracts attention from how to create what will be. Honesty piques your awareness because it helps you deal with reality as it is. Learning requires seeing situations as clearly as possible. Attention isn't distracted to lies that create illusions. You share information honestly so both parties can gain better understanding of the relationship. Be aware if you're taking life too seriously. That can blind you from being aware of the lighter side of situations. Find humor in your exchange with others and the world. Humor lightens up the stress and makes it more palatable to process. That way you can have serious fun. For example, I like to listen to figures of speech that people use. Recently I was checking in with a colleague and I asked him, "How are you?" And he said, "I'm covered up." So I noticed this covered up figure of speech. And so I said, "Well, don't get covered up too much, otherwise you might find yourself 6 feet under." And they gave him a little chuckle. So this is a humorous way to make an important point. In other words, don't work so hard where you lose sight of life, or where you lose sight of your family or get burned out. This is a way that you can use humor and still be serious about life. These are active tools that you use for doing the work. They keep you alert to how you're using your attention. You are in enemy territory. When you're doing work, you are in stress, so you need to be alert to it. And then you need to focus your attention on doing the work. Curiosity directs attention to the stress in the situation. You're curious about the learning opportunity. Curiosity helps you use attention actively to solve problems. Patience and persistence work separately and together. Patience allows you to align with the natural unfolding of the situation. Learning is really about expansion. You expand your understanding of yourself and the world. That means you need to know yourself in the context of something larger. Learning requires aligning and integrating into relationships. And patience allows time to align and integrate. And this happens when the timing is right. You can't force this process. Persistence is about staying in the game. It's about continuing to do work that leads you to your goals. You persist with effort. You persist by being adaptive. You can be persistent and patient. Patience allows time, and persistence allows you to be flexible and adaptable as you're doing the work, as you're exerting effort. Where are you? You're always here and now. And you need to focus your attention here and now in order to do effective work. These tools help you do effective work. They help you neither cling to comfort nor reject the stress when you're doing this work. It allows your attention to naturally flow as the work is unfolding. And it allows you to use your attention impeccably, which leads you toward your warrior goal. In short, these tools help you navigate stress so that you can trust how life is unfolding. They can help prevent creating a life of needless struggle and rather create a life of peace and joy. In short, they can help you live as an impeccable warrior. You're in enemy territory when you're doing work, and your attention will tend to get distracted. You need to be awake and alert to this possibility, this tendency, as you're doing the work. Doing the work aligns and integrates you into relationships, and this gives you a broader understanding of yourself and others in the world. Work is going to be an aspect that makes up the majority of your life. Don't fight this fact. Rather, accept it, relax into it, and then trust how the work is unfolding. Use these warrior tools. Do the work for its own sake. They'll help you use your attention more impeccably. Here's the drill. Awake to maintain awareness of your attention. Humility. Be aware of your ego. Getting offended or defensive distracts attention. Notice your ego's desire to put up defenses. Then relax them so you can stay awake to what's occurring in the situation. Honesty. Be aware of how you share information. Are you telling lies or withholding information? That won't help you develop relationships. Rather, share according to the relevance and kind of relationship you're cultivating. Humor. Be aware if you're overly serious. Find the joy in it all. Working through stress is what life is largely about. Don't take it so seriously. Lighten up. Have some fun. Just don't make fun at the other's expense. That hurts their ego. Alert to use your attention impeccably. Curiosity. Be alert to the situation by being curious. What does the other person really mean? Be curious by asking clarifying questions. Patience. Be alert to your impatience to resolve situations. Forcing it to resolve quicker won't help. That will only create temporary solutions. Patience usually manifests itself as patiently listening to others. Persistence. Stay alert to the balance of being patient and being persistent. It's fine to be patient and listen, but if that's all you're doing, then you're not being heard. Be persistent by speaking your views kindly but firmly. You're in enemy territory when you're doing work, so be awake and alert. Use these warrior tools to help you navigate the work. That'll help you learn and grow and use your attention impeccably.